In 2018, when Lawrence Stroll bought the Silverstone-based Formula One team out of administration, the situation was almost bleak. Reports suggested there was barely enough cash in the bank to keep the lights on. The entire operation was purchased for a fraction of what modern F1 teams are worth today, and expectations were modest at best. Survival was the goal. Championships were not even a conversation. Fast forward just a few years, and the transformation is staggering. That same team now operates from one of the most advanced facilities in the sport, partners with a full factory engine supplier, and is led by the most successful car designer in Formula One history. What once looked like a rescue mission now resembles a calculated attempt at building a championship contender from the ground up. But Formula One history is littered with expensive failures. Money alone has never guaranteed success. Toyota spent billions in the 2000s and left without a single win. Others have built shiny factories only to remain stuck in the midfield. So why is Aston Martin different? The answer lies not in any single investment, but in the rare alignment of timing, talent, and regulation change. Aston Martin isn't simply spending big. They are assembling specific pieces for a very specific moment. That moment is 2026. The upcoming regulation reset is the most comprehensive in modern Formula One history. Both the chassis rules and the power unit rules change at the same time, something the sport has never attempted before. When this happens, experience matters less than preparation. Teams that commit early can rewrite the competitive order overnight. Aston Martin has committed everything. They accepted short-term pain in 2024 and 2025. Results dropped, points disappeared, criticism grew louder. But internally, the focus never shifted. The team wasn't failing, they were deliberately betting on the future. And now, for the first time, rivals are starting to take that bet seriously. Because when you look at who Aston Martin has assembled for 2026, the concern across the grid suddenly makes a lot more sense. No individual in Formula One history has shaped championships like Adrian Newey. Across multiple teams and multiple eras, his designs have won more titles than any other engineer the sport has ever seen. Different engines, different regulations, different philosophies. The results stayed the same, winning. So when Aston Martin confirmed Newey's arrival, it instantly changed how the entire paddock viewed the project. This wasn't a symbolic hire or a consultant role. Newey was given authority, ownership, and eventually control over the team's technical direction. That detail matters. For the first time in his career, Newey wasn't just designing cars, he became a stakeholder. An equity position worth tens of millions tied his future directly to Aston Martin's success. That kind of alignment is rare in modern Formula One, and it explains why he walked away from Red Bull despite their continued dominance. Newey's real strength has never been copying concepts. It's interpretation. He sees regulation text differently. Where others look for safe solutions, he looks for opportunities others overlook or dismiss as impossible. That ability becomes lethal during regulation resets. He did it with active suspension. He did it with blown diffusers. He did it with ground effect concepts. And now, he's been working on the 2026 rules long before most fans even understood what they meant. But there's a catch. Even the best chassis in the world can't compensate for a weak power unit. And that's where Aston Martin's gamble becomes far more complex. Because Newey may be the greatest designer ever, but his success in 2026 depends entirely on the engine bolted behind his car. Before we go further, quick reminder, if you enjoy these deep Formula One breakdowns, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Videos like this take serious research, and subscribing helps you never miss what's coming next. For the first time in its existence, Aston Martin will enter a season as a full factory-backed team. The Honda partnership beginning in 2026 ends more than a decade of customer engine dependency and replaces it with something far more powerful: exclusivity. Work status means priority. It means direct influence over power unit development. It means tighter integration between engine and chassis. And it means Aston Martin will not be sharing hardware or attention with rival teams. Honda's history in Formula One is extreme. At their best, they've powered some of the most dominant cars the sport has ever seen. At their worst, they've struggled publicly, painfully, and expensively. But when Honda gets it right, the ceiling is incredibly high. The timing of this partnership wasn't accidental. Honda walked away from Red Bull when Red Bull chose to build its own power unit operation with Ford. Aston Martin stepped into that vacuum with fresh facilities, long-term commitment, and a clear championship vision. Honda executives openly praised Lawrence Stroll's determination and investment. For them, Aston Martin represented a clean slate, no legacy compromises, no shared priorities. But optimism comes with risk. Public comments from Honda leadership acknowledged development challenges late in the process. That raised alarms. In a formula where power units are frozen early, starting behind can lock teams into deficits that aerodynamics alone cannot fix, which makes Aston Martin's situation uniquely volatile. Because while the partnership looks perfect on paper, the 2026 engine rules leave absolutely no room for late recovery. The 2026 Formula One regulations don't just change how cars look, they change how they behave. Cars become shorter, lighter, and less dependent on raw downforce. Drag drops dramatically. Active aerodynamics replace DRS, and most importantly, the power balance flips. For the first time, electric power becomes equal to combustion power. That shift forces teams into unfamiliar territory. Battery deployment, harvesting efficiency, and thermal management become just as important as traditional engine performance. Drivers will manage energy constantly. Strategy becomes dynamic on every lap. Historically, these kinds of resets destroy established hierarchies. Mercedes dominated in 2014 because they committed early. Red Bull surged in 2022 because they understood ground effect better than anyone else. The same opportunity exists now. Aston Martin has aligned everything toward exploiting it. But regulation chaos rewards clarity of execution, not ambition alone. And that's where Aston Martin's biggest internal challenge begins. Aston Martin didn't just hire one superstar, they hired dozens. Engineers from Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull all arrived within a short time window. The workforce doubled. New systems replaced old ones. Processes changed. This kind of transformation is dangerous. Even experienced teams struggle when too much changes at once. Communication breaks. Development paths conflict. Simulators fail to correlate. Wind tunnel data misleads. Reports already suggest Aston Martin faced these issues during 2024 and 2025. Performance dipped, design concepts were reevaluated. Newey himself reportedly criticized internal tools that hadn't yet reached elite standards. These are growing pains, but in Formula One, time is brutal. Because while rivals are watching the potential upside, they're also quietly waiting for these cracks to widen. Aston Martin's new technology campus changes the development equation entirely. Built specifically for modern Formula One, it removes limitations the team lived with for years. No more rented wind tunnels, no more logistical compromises. Everything now happens in-house. This matters because under F1's sliding scale regulations, midfield teams get more development time. Aston Martin currently benefits from that advantage, and every extra hour goes toward the 2026 car. Infrastructure doesn't win championships, but it enables them. And for the first time, Aston Martin's tools match its ambition. Which brings us to the final question every rival is asking. The truth sits somewhere between hype and skepticism. Aston Martin has assembled something unprecedented. The greatest designer ever, a championship engine partner, a purpose-built factory, and an owner willing to absorb short-term failure for long-term success. That combination has never existed at Silverstone before. But Formula One punishes hesitation and rewards execution. If Honda's power unit delivers, if Newey finds something others miss, and if integration clicks at the right moment, Aston Martin could become a title contender immediately. If not, the project shifts to 2027 or beyond. Either way, this is no longer fantasy. For the first time, Aston Martin's championship talk is credible, and that alone is enough to make the grid nervous. Because when the lights go out in 2026, we won't just learn who built the fastest car. We'll learn who truly understood the future of Formula One. Now, if you want to understand why the 2026 Formula One regulations could give Max Verstappen a unique advantage, check out our video, Why 2026 Rules May Push Verstappen Beyond Everyone Else. In that breakdown, we explain how energy management, active aerodynamics, and driver decision-making will matter more than ever, and why Verstappen's driving style fits this new era perfectly. This video shows what teams are building. That one explains which driver is already ready for it,